live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Rafino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Massive show in store for you tonight. Brian Kelly gives update on his football team going into the spring game on Saturday. He said some pretty massive things here today. We will break them down. Now, I told you this, and we talked about it last night. I'm going to play you the audio. We're going to react to it. What are my thoughts? What did Brian Kelly say? What should we look forward to in this spring game? Matt House and Brad Davis get extensions. We will touch on that. Maybe some of my thoughts on what it means for your O-line coach, how Brian Kelly obviously is perceiving what Brad Davis, as an example, has done so far, being one of the only staff members that he kept when he got here. Your O-line coach getting that extension along with Matt House getting an extension and a pay raise, I might add, as well. Rafino's rant. So today, obviously the news came out that with Brian Kelly about Jaden Daniels. Well, if they weren't already in the news, they're back in LSU news this time, as founder CEO of Texags, Billy Lucci, had some very interesting words to say about Jaden Daniels. We're going off on Texas and Texas A&M tonight, because at some point, Billy's got, when he makes comments like this, he's got to accept the invitation to come on this show or any LSU show, debate it. Debate it. So we're going to go off. If you're going to run your mouth about LSU, let's run our mouth about Texags and Texas A&M. Dude's built a fantastic company. Fantastic company. But at some point, from an LSU fan perspective, you got to stick up for a guy that just won the West. Haven't been this pissed off in quite some time. So we're gonna touch on that. It's A&M. Matt Trent from BRZ Sports joins us at 7:30. Looking forward to him joining us, and we'll go around the SEC. So tonight, right now, South Carolina and Florida are playing. Petrie just hit an absolute bomb. I'll give you my picks. We went 5-2 last week. I did thought I was going to go 4-3, but Mississippi State helped me out in my SEC picks in the series, going 5-2. So I'll give you those. Maybe you can throw a little John Daly pizza money on it, like I did last week. Made about $107 over the weekend betting some small stuff on college baseball. So been fun. I'll give you those picks. And as every Tuesday and Thursday, we do hashtag Ask Blake. So thoughts, questions, concerns, get them inside the Rudy Crew chat, and we will get to as many of them as we can. Did I forget anything? I feel like there's something I've left out in the announcement segment of the show. You know what I mean? Like, does today symbolize anything? Like, is there like a universal leaf signal to all of those who partake? To all of those who partake. Happy 420. I do feel like it's lost its luster a little bit since marijuana has been more legalized, Delta 8, Delta 9, things like that. But nevertheless, happy 420 for all of you out there that like to partake in the greener substances. Good on you. Good on you. Congratulations. It's going to be good. All right, let's get to a couple comments before we get rolling. Ken on Facebook says, happy 420, folks. App Absolutely. Rodney Kraft says, it's 420, dog. Oh, Rodney Kraft again says he's high from Colorado. Okay. Rodney puffing that magic dragon on 420, listening to AYS live on the show. Okay, Rodney, what we do we have some Pineapple Express? Do we have the Purple Dragon, or do we have some Delta 8? What we got here? Let us know. I don't feel like you go to Colorado though and get Delta 8. Just throwing that out there. Doug Nose says Luch is a blind homer. He did have a meltdown over Jimbo last year. Dude was about to cry on a few post games. Their Super Bowl was beating LSU. I agree. Mike Anzalone says on YouTube, let's go Tigers. Absolutely. A good friend, Rob Boudreaux, says good evening. Good evening to you as well, sir. Good evening to you. Brandon Reese says, I am ready for Haley Van Lith to commit to LSU already. I am too, man. I am too. I'm excited for what is going on around LSU. I'm excited for what Kim Mulkey has been doing, right? Like, I mean, I do feel really good about where LSU sits with Haley Van Lith. We talked about that this week. And if she does commit to LSU. So one thing I will share with you, and something that we got from the staff, was it? Today's Thursday, so it'd have to be because we were still on vacation when I was told this. I mean, obviously on our visit and everything like that, but I was told that she, watching Angel Reese, watching Flaugier, watching everybody's draft stock and NIL potential grow has been a big deal for her. And why wouldn't it be? Angel Reese goes from 500,000 Instagram followers to over 3 million, signing deals. I mean, it's a big thing. And by the way, with all of that being said, she is an outright baller. Shot caller, 20-inch blades, only Impala. Caller. I can't say that last part. But regardless, look, nobody is saying that they don't want Haley Van Lith. Nobody that roots for LSU is mad about NIL in the transfer portal right now. You're not mad about it right now. Remember, you get off your long takes on Twitter, Facebook, and inside of YouTube chat rooms all across America. NIL is bad, but you don't say anything when it's benefiting your team. All right, couple more as well. Tommy Howard says, I love the greener substances. Smoking some Granddaddy Perp, the OG of Perp. I will admit, in my younger youth, I used to listen to Little Boosie and used to say the words, smoking on that doja gonna ease my mind. That's that stuff that I ride to. Rodney says black ice 28.73% THC. Wowzers. It's pretty potent. All right, a couple more, then we'll get rolling. Julius on YouTube says, I'd love for HVL, Haley Van Lith, to come to LSU. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. See, when I saw HVL, what I read in my head was TVD. No, not RVD. Like, this isn't 90s, 2000s wrestling. I didn't say Rob Van Dam TVD, Tyler Van Dyke. If you listen to this program enough, or if you listen to the Rafino and Joe show, somebody has been out here this week saying that Nick Saban does not like what he has in his quarterback room. And all of a sudden, here comes things coming out there days after we talked about this, about Tyler Van Dyke possibly entering the transfer portal and possibly heading on down to Tuscaloosa. Go ahead, Tyler Van Dyke. I tweeted this. I thought it was funny. It didn't get as much action as I thought it was, but I think it's hilarious. Van Dyke, Klondike, a McDonald's Sprite. Doesn't matter. LSU by 50. We're willing to West. By the way, for all you who have been to a McDonald's before in your life, is the McDonald's Fountain Sprite the best cold drink in America? Might be, man. There is nothing better than a hot and spicy with a Sprite from McDonald's. Just, go get your Big Mac with the Thousand Island. Throw some cheese on that. Just letting you know. Yes, I am feeling it tonight. I am feeling it tonight, if you can tell, on this 420. But let's get this thing rolling, though, man. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share to all of those social media groups, share to all of your social media pages. If you're listening to us on YouTube, guys, we are literally only a couple more subscribers to the 5,000. We get there, and the 1,000 on Rafino and Joe show, we legitimately are giving somebody $200. So if you haven't subscribed on YouTube already, do us a favor by doing that and hitting that notification bell. If you're listening to us on SiriusXM, TuneIn app, wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe as well. Next Monday, we have next week, I think it's going to be Monday, we have some massive news. We're coming to every household in America live from your couch. You can watch us. You don't have to watch us from your phone or your app. If you have a smart TV, we're coming to you, but we'll make those announcements within the next couple of days, weeks, and about 20 days. So really looking forward to that. So let's do this. Let's take our first break. Listen, Brian Kelly makes some massive statements here today. We talk about that. We're about to rip Billy Lucci and Texags and the entire Texas A&M fan base. And then Matt Trent joins us at 7:30. We're back in 1 minute. Stay tuned with us. Yeah, it's that one. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varnado & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varnado & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992, 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Rafino sent you on by. Unlike anything remotely in Texas is, whether they be the Longhorns or the Aggies, you know what's interesting to me, if you have not won a national title in something, especially in what I will call the Big Four in women's, men's, football, baseball, when you have not won a national championship since 1939, I think you need to shut your pie hole. Shut your mouth. We'll get to that in just a minute. So, Brian Kelly said today, was in his press conference, the last media availability for practice before the spring game, massive. And I'm talking about massive things he said, at least to me, today. None bigger than what he had to say about Jane Daniels. Now, last night, we talked about this, and the words that Brian Kelly had to say about your starting quarterback. Guys, right now, Jane Daniels is your starting quarterback. Can that ultimately change? Maybe a small chance. But what I take of all of this is Jane Daniels doing exactly what he needs to do to take the offseason seriously, get better. You know, what's interesting, and when Brian Kelly confirmed this, now we're going to play the clip from Brian Kelly today. If Jane Daniels is 210 pounds, as Brian Kelly alluded to, the man was probably $185 a year ago. Now he's at 210. With that all being said, if Jane Daniels is working out that hard and being that focused, not only in the weight room, guys, to gain that much weight and good weight that quickly, you have to have three massive things. Number one, locked in focus and determination. You have to have a great offseason, and you have to have a good strength and conditioning coaching staff and dietitian. If Jane Daniels is taking the weight room that seriously, and he looks bigger, he's better with a lot of his throws, they're working on down the field passes, what leads me to believe that every facet of his game isn't getting better? Why would I believe that he's not working on every single detail, every single facet, and every single thing that he's doing? If you don't believe me, why don't you take a listen and you determine on what Brian Kelly said? Listen here.
He's over 210 pounds. He's thicker. He's stronger. This is much more about veteran presence now than acclimating to a new program. I think that's really the difference here. So now you've got a guy that's helping the freshman tight ends, listen, sit down on this route. Don't drag, sit down. I'll get you the football. Those kind of nuances. So it's harder sometimes to explain it, but you can kind of sense it and see it just by his interactions with, Malik, in terms of where he wants the football and, how he is just addressing the offensive line when he's making calls. There's just a different presence to him.
Brian Kelly would go on to say as well that he expects this offense to be cleaner and have better execution, not only in the spring, but this upcoming fall. Man, I will tell you, and there's two things that I think about right now when I hear Brian Kelly say that in April, okay? Number one, you just got so much production coming back. Jane Daniels being the vocal guy and leader that he was a season ago. I mean, scratch that. I got a text. Legitimately, what we saw from him last year, not being so much of a vocal leader to being more of a vocal leader now. And the text was from a good buddy of mine, and he said, hey, he was, listed at 200 last year. I don't believe that. I don't think anybody believes that. Now, listed him being that, I think that he legitimately has put on that weight, has done a lot of good things in the weight room. Does he need to get better at some areas and some facets? You're damn right he does. But I'm great with hearing those type of things when we have a media session that lasts for 20 minutes. Maybe Coach Kelly doesn't want you to see some of those things. But when he leads off a press conference and saying, I expect to see cleaner execution from the offense in year 2 at the spring game, and he's talking about the fall as well, we have the returning foundation. I know a lot of LSU fans say, Blake, pump the brakes. It's April. You're right. It is. On the other hand, you got to be cautious on some of these games and some things that are going on. I don't want to say stress. Stress is not a good word. I am aware how good Florida State has gotten this offseason. Bama will always be Bama. You have back-to-back SEC road games. Ole Miss, even though has not shown that they can beat you continuously year in and year out, still has an offense that's pretty damn good. They have 2 quarterbacks that's played a lot of football in college and what some people believe to be a very talented young man at quarterback that is behind them. They've got skill dudes. They got Judkins. Some people believe about Arkansas, and I get that, even though I don't. It's just so refreshing that you have a guy that's leading you in the right direction, that a quarterback that some of you have been a little off on. And look, I get that part. I'm glad to see the focus, and the determination of what he's doing this offseason. Brian Kelly would go on to say as well, he talked about his defensive line, about some of the guys like Jacoby and Guillory, Mason Smith, who's just been in some drill work, Parrish Shand, Ty G. Hill, and others, since some of the Mekhi Wingo and Mason have been out this spring, that they have gotten a lot of big-time reps. Guys, you're going to need that along the defensive line. Brian Kelly legitimately let it – this is going to be a very bad choice of words, but Brian Kelly let it all hang out today. He told you he left nothing on the table. And he's right. Guys, we talked a lot all this past season. About how the defense and DBs at times were underperforming. And I'm with you. But did you know, from a rankings standpoint and a statistical standpoint, LSU allowed fewer passing yards from a ranking standpoint, they were in the 30s, than what LSU did defensively in the run game. You're going to need those dudes up front. Talked about Marlon Martinez and the offensive line progressing. And then one comment that I think, the second comment that I think was just massive. Brian Kelly joked with the media about saying, hey, you guys need to write this, this, and this. And he was joking. Ha, 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 ha. Get your giggles out on 420. Ha, ha, ha. That's actually how some people in the media laugh. They weren't laughing when Elon took their blue check today, though. They weren't laughing at that. Anyway, I digress. But Brian Kelly talking about that media and fans going to say during and after the season, man, I'm really glad that Brian Kelly and staff went and got that guy out of the portal. Who's he talking about? You got an offensive lineman in Mason Lunsford. You got a couple of guys that can rush the passer. You got Denver Harris. You went out and got Zy Alexander. Who's he talking about? Or is he talking about him as a whole? What has Brian Kelly seen from year 2 that when he first got here? And look, it's got to be massive, right? Like, it's got to be a massive leap. LSU didn't get worse. You had 60-something scholarship guys already, and now you have more depth. Now, I know this spring you've been a little bit banged up, but I get it. Who is he talking about? I can look at any position on the field. I can look at the teams that you're playing. And like I said last night, Florida State does scare me more than Alabama does. There's not a team in the country on paper that has a better 1-2 punch on the defensive line than Florida State. Nobody has a Braden Fisk and a Jared Verse on their team, not even Bama. Maybe you can argue Georgia. But I look at what LSU's done rebuilding that offensive line. It's also probably why Brad Davis got an extension and raise today. LSU going from the hundreds to the 40s when it comes to total defense. Going from 103rd a season ago and passing yards allowed, going all the way up into the 30s this past season. It's probably why Matt House got an extension. Brian Kelly's telling you what he thinks. And I always love when a coordinator gets an extension. And look, I get the fact that coaches get extensions due to simple natures of, it's for recruiting purposes and all that. You just gave Brad Davis an extension last year, and Matt House hasn't run out his contract. Just a lot of buzz and positivity. Oh, and by the way, I said that this past week about Alabama. Now everybody's out saying, well, they don't have a quarterback right now, and Tyler Van Dyke may be their answer if he goes into the portal. We literally told you that on the Horns Up podcast on Monday. I was a guest, speaker, whatever, just a guest on their show, and I told you that. Guys, I'm telling you, you just sit in such a good place under this new staff and regime. Now, before we get to Matt Trent, after Brian Kelly, let me preface this for just a minute. I have not gone on a really good Rafino's rant in about 3 months. I'm talking about down in the weeds, getting pissed off, and going after somebody. You're going to get it here tonight. And I hope Matt Trent brings the heat too. Billy Lucci from Texags. He's the CEO, founder, the biggest Texas A&M Rudy Poo. Massive Rudy Poo. Brian Kelly obviously came out today and said Jane Daniels is 210 pounds. And then here comes Billy Lucci at Texags, who, by the way, was in the news this past week because Jimbo Fisher was picking fun at the media, talking about how Texags always puts on their maroon and white glasses on and writes Rudy Poo stuff and articles, and everything's always hunky-dory. I know that Jimbo was joking. I get all that. But you're going to come out and say something about LSU's starting quarterback. My guy. You have not legitimately won anything in the Big Four since 1939. Brian Kelly did something in year one with a program that you called a dumpster fire that Jimbo Fisher hasn't done this past decade and that you've never done. It's called win the West. There are levels to what you can and cannot say when your team goes 5-7. And when LSU comes off the worst 2 years in the past 20, you can't be out there talking about quarterbacks and teams when you recruited a quarterback in Haynes King that throws like this. You know what he was trying to do? The cheer that you do every Friday night. Hoo! Hoo! That's how his motions are. My guy. You don't know football. Billy, if you could write me what a cover 3 is, what a stack backer needs to do in cover 2, I will never say another word for you. You do not know football. You don't. You have been successful based off of your knowledge of getting information. You're an Adam Schefter of Texas A&M. Congratulations. But when you start taking shots at other kids and other teams, you better be able to come on a show like ours, who, by the way, 20,000 followers on Twitter. You can't say we're small anymore. You got to be able to come in here and back it up. You've been irrelevant since 1939. Literally, America has won a world war. We invented the air condition. There are so many things that you can, like, legit. Porta potties are now a thing. You don't have to take a dump in the streets or outhouses. Running water is a bigger thing. Electricity, technology. There's a thing where you can talk to people by pulling out a device out of your pocket. We landed on the moon. We landed on the moon. Keep Jane Daniels' name out of your mouth. And if you're going to talk about it, come on a show and debate it. And don't hide behind one of your guys saying, oh, I think this guy can come on your show, Blake. Don't do that. You want to come for the top, you got to be the top dog. All right. I don't know what Matt Trent's thinking, but I'm pissed. Not pissed that he's coming on, though. Great insight from Matt, as always. We go to him next. It's 420, baby. 420. You know who we're talking about next. Matt Trent, 45 seconds. Guys, I've got to talk to you about our good friends over at Gramco. They are the Delta 8 company based out of the state of Florida. They're founded by college football junkies just like you and I am not sure if you're familiar with Delta 8, but you need to be. Gramco is the absolute leader in this field, and they have phenomenal products that I just need to tell you about. First off is the Wake and Bake coffee that is absolutely spectacular. The gummies are as well, as they're the best in the market. So go to thegramco.com right now and use the promo code AYS25. That's thegramco.com, AYS25 promo code to get 25% off of your order. Jump on this fast, as it is perfect for holidays, anniversaries, and everyday use. Gramco is hemp-derived and completely legal inside of the state of Louisiana. No medical card is needed, and shipping is very discreet. You must be 21 years older to order. Again, that's thegramco.com. Use that promo code AYS25. Good evening, good sir.
Tough scene for Billy Lucci tonight, huh?
Matt, I mean, listen, you've been in that media market, okay? You can't come out and start making fun of athletes when your coach is on the hot seat, about to get fired. He wears a Velcro hat. I mean, people that wear Velcro hats legitimately have been scientifically proven to be serial killers and losers. So he's either one of the two. You can't come out and talk about Jane Daniels when you've been in the SEC for over a decade now, and you hadn't won anything. Matt, I'm sorry. They won cheer. I had to go look it up. This isn't a joke. They've been a national champion in cheerleading.
You better put some respect on that national championship in meat judging, all right? You better come correct. All right? We don't take that shit lightly over here, okay?
Okay. Can I just tell you something? I'm gonna quote a good buddy of mine. You ready? What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we actually doing? What are we actually doing?
What are we actually doing?
What are we actually doing? Myself and Josh each has asked that question regularly every single day with everything. And it's a very easy question to ask, and in a lot of cases, it's a very hard question to answer. Think about it. Think about next time. I want everybody, when you go to work or you're in a situation where you're genuinely confused, ask those involved, what are we actually doing?
It's true. It's something you say when you're on shrooms. Matt, Brian Kelly's thoughts about Jane Daniels. You've covered Brian Kelly for over a year. I've covered Brian Kelly for over a year. Tell me that you've heard a time that he's talked about a quarterback the way that he's done Jane Daniels the last 2 days.
Yeah, and I think too, like the biggest thing with Jaden was going to have to be the little stuff, right? Like it wasn't anything physical, it wasn't anything schematically outside. I mean, we all know he holds the ball too long. So there was just little things that he needed to clean up, and they were all.
Sometimes I just hate sometimes. Continue, please. Continue. I want to be serious. Continue.
That's what the internet told me. He holds the ball too long. And you can't win 10 games if you hold the ball too long.
Continue, please, before I lose it.
But yeah, I think it was, those little things. And I think too that I'm with you. Like, I think a lot of it last year was Jaden still trying to get comfortable at LSU, right? Like he leaves Arizona State. He wanted to come here because he wanted to obviously win a national championship. He wanted to better himself for the NFL. And I think he probably could have come out last year. I don't think he would have been as high. I don't think he would have been as high as he's going to be, after this year, obviously. But I think he still would have gone. I think he still would have gotten drafted. But now you've got another year with Joe Sloan, and you've got another year cleaning up, the little stuff. And that just tells me, dude, he's taking this real serious. I saw the picture actually that you posted about just the weight gains in general. And look, let's not overreact. That is very typical in terms of dudes that stay here over break. They stay here over the summer. They stay here over, a good extended period in the winter, and they just work out. I mean, you're doing sometimes. I wouldn't be surprised if Jaden had days where he was working out once in the morning, once, at night, lifting, doing something. So that didn't surprise me, but it also told me that, okay, he's coming for it. Like he's coming for it all this year.
Well, Matt, at bare minimum, he's taking it seriously.
Yeah, and let's not get it twisted to say that last year he didn't take it seriously. I think it's a comfortability deal now, right? Like he's got a year.
Great way to put it.
He's got a year with the offense. He's got like Brian Kelly was saying, hey, he can now tell these guys, hey, on this route against this coverage, I need you to sit here. And then versus I need you to release here. So that's all that it tells me is that it's just little things, right? And we have seen the master, the mad scientist at little things at LSU as a quarterback is Joe Burrow. Like, I mean, how many times have you seen? Did you go back in 2019 and you look at Joe before the snap, tell Clyde, hey, that dude's coming. I want you to sit here and block that dude. And if he doesn't come, did it all the time. Did it all day, every day, twice on Sundays.
Yeah. So listen, I'm not going to say who, okay? I'm not going to say who I talked to, but I talked to somebody today. You know what they tell me about Joe is that game against Alabama in 2019, he made these check calls in the first half, okay? And then when he made the check calls, something happened. Then they said in the second half, he made the same check call. He threw the touchdown to, I want to say Clyde in the flat no. I let me back up. It was, remember, I think it was like 4th down, 3rd and short, and Clyde had that ridiculous catch for the first down, like at his shoe tops. Well, it wasn't the check, right? He did exactly what he was going to do. Regardless of that, I agree with you on the Jane Daniels part. You know what else was interesting to me, Matt? I'm not saying Brian Kelly is lying. I know that he wants to build the foundational house around recruiting kids out of high school. Why is he getting to a point now where, though, when he talks about the portal, he says, you guys are going to be glad we got X, Y, and Z? I'm not saying he's changing his thought process, but that's a little interesting because he was very candid on, we want everybody to come from high school. And now he's talking about like, hey, man, these guys in the portal can play.
I think it's kind of similar to what every good program is experiencing or has experienced since the portal was created. You know, when Brian Kelly got here, dudes were in the portal and you kind of had to do a cash grab. Okay. Now it looks as though guys are getting in the portal just to come to LSU, right? It's like Haley Van Lith. You can't tell me that she didn't go in the portal to go to a place like LSU. You don't get in the portal just to weigh
Right.
your options and look around and being like, "Oh, I really hope this this school comes to get me." You go in saying, "Okay, I want to get better and I want to do X, Y, and Z that I'm not, or get something that I'm not getting at this school, and I can get it somewhere else. And I know that if I get in, I don't know if I'm giving away tampering, but you know, it is what it is." Now I think guys are going in the portal to go to LSU, not just go into the portal.
Well, and you know what else, Matt? I think a big thing too is coaches are understanding it and getting smarter with it too.
Of course.
Right. And so LSU, like you said, it was a cash grab, but like Alabama's best receiver over the look, I know Devonta Smith won a Heisman. Okay. So I'm going to exclude him for just a second. The best receiver like Alabama's had the last 5 years, in my opinion, has come out of the portal, and that being Jamison Williams. So I agree with that. Now, you said something about Haley Van Lith, Matt, which is going to make me transition for just a quick second. Bro, like, what are we talking about with Haley Van Lith here?
The left-handed Kid Mulkey.
A left-handed Kim Mulkey.
I don't know
Matt,
a better way to describe her.
Matt, are they the most I know that we're not constantly on the women's basketball beat.
But here's the thing though, is
I gotta tell you, man, I kind of have been to some extent because I'm following it because of what LSU might be about to do with her coming here as well.
Look, I actually am one of these weirdos that, and this is not a knock on women's basketball, but I do love watching the women's game.
Right.
Especially a lot of programs. And I watch Haley Van Lith, and if you watched her in the tournament against Texas,
oh, okay, go ahead.
The honorable mention deal going through the line, if you're an LSU fan and you didn't go, I want that. I don't give two continental you know what's how many points she scores, assists she disks out. I want that attitude.
Well, you know what I said? I told Megan this, my wife, for people who don't know. We were watching that game, and when that happened, because it was, I legitimately word for word said, "That's Kim Mulkey wearing red."
Think about look, man. Like being around this team, you might not have seen it a lot from Alexis Morris. She was very vocal in how she led this team, but I think she did it not as boisterous and demonstrative, you could say, as Haley Van Lith did, but it still had an effect. I see the same type of stuff with her. Like Haley Van Lith will get in your you know what and not care, and she will tell you, "I'm gonna drop 30 on your ass. Then I'm gonna go next week. I'm gonna drop 35 on them, and then the next week after that, I'm gonna take it up a notch because I hate them more, even twice as much as I do you, and I'm gonna give them a 40 piece." And she'll do it. Like, I'm sorry, I love players like that. I love the Haley Van Lith, the Alexis Morris, the Angel Reeses of the world, that when you try and guard them, they're going, it's like Jordan. How many times did Jordan say, "Hey, I'm going to go my right hand here, 2 dribbles, step up, I'm out, pop up, jump shot."
Yeah, him, Larry Bird.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you've got a similar point guard, similar tenacity, similar scoring ability. The only thing that I have a concern with is how willing she will be.
Connect.
Yeah, well, not just that, but defer. How willing and able she will be to actually defer, and when her shot is not falling, get Angel involved, get Flage involved. Because I thought that was one of the biggest things that helped LSU in this tournament was Alexis Morris to put we before me. That's why they're national champions. Now, she came in the clutch, obviously, had some great moments in the clutch, but when there were a few games where the jump shot wasn't falling. She was like, all right, screw it. I got to get back on D. I got to play tough D, and then good defense will turn into offense at the other end with Angel, Flage, LaDeja, whomever. That's why they're national champions.
You know who else did that this past weekend? Bear Jones.
Okay. Here, I'm really glad. I'm really glad that you brought that because I was hoping you would bring that up. Because I was talking
about, man, I know you too well. Okay, like so in my notes, I have 4 stars to talk about Bear Jones with Matt Trent.
Here's the thing. There's so many dudes that have no idea what like actual competition is like.
They don't, bro. They don't.
Like and I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a mean way. But dudes that are going out here in LaRondre every weekend and playing beer league softball against like coach buddies, they're stop it. You have no. You don't know, and like you just think about this. I see like some of these dudes on Twitter get upset, at their workplace if someone doesn't return their stapler back to them when they ask, versus how do you think you would deal with someone cussing you out, telling you to get in the box, cussing you out again, quick pitching you in front of 10,000 people?
And by the way, he's 6'4", 235.
Yeah, and then you get him back by hitting a 400-foot homer in dead center, and then you win the series. What do you think you're gonna do? Like what? Right. Like you know what I'm saying? I go to bars on the weekend, and I see dudes get more worked up over like bets that they place that they have no connection to the team whatsoever. But you're gonna tell a dude who's like living and dying and sweating and bleeding for the team that is paying him to go to school and play baseball, and you're like, well, you can't yell at that pitcher. That's not nice. Shut up. Like these dudes, the dudes. The dudes.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I know.
It's ridiculous. Like, shut up.
Well,
shut up.
So with that being said on Bear Jones, I've been saying, like, I did not agree with him coming out of the lineup, even though he was striking out a lot. Like, he's been the one dude I just said, you got to keep in there, man. Like, you got to find a spot because, Matt, over the last 2 weeks, okay, he's cut his strikeout rate ratio 64%.
Blake, you go look at all the games where he's had multiple home runs or big RBI games. I looked it up. This was when I did our weekly show about 2 weeks ago. 80% of the time they're after a game where he struck out 3 or more times.
All right. Just
every game that he has like multiple home runs or he hits a home run or has a big RBI day, they come immediately after, if not, or 2 games after minimum of a game where he struck out more than twice, more than 3 times, 4 times.
Right.
That's just how advanced he is as a freshman. He can go get a golden sombrero one day, strike out 4 times, turn right around and hit a ball 400 feet twice in a game.
Right.
That's just the maturity that of a hitter that he is. And Jay was like, that was one of the things when we were recruiting that stood out the most. Yeah, he's got, grown man power at 18 years old, but just the approach and just the willingness to say, all right, yeah, struck out 3 times today. We're going to go out, new day tomorrow.
Well, and I agree with this comment right here too. Like, along with Bear Jones and the trash talking and the ability, like C. King says, these dudes never been in the barbershop if they don't know.
No, they haven't. These dudes, they would lose their damn mind and get their feelings hurt. That's why every single time one of them tries to chirp at me on Twitter, y'all know where I am. And guess what happens? I'm by myself at the game, hanging out. Like, for real. I'm not like, I'm just saying, everybody wants to be a keyboard warrior, but if the dudes.
Right. All right. So LSU obviously lost their first midweek game. And look, come on. My thing, Matt, has been with this team, they should have 20 errors. Okay. Sometimes in baseball, you go through slumps. You go through things like this. I get that. It's just an area that they're going to have to improve. You know, like Florida's playing South Carolina tonight. I get that. Petrie just hit a bomb. I get that. On that same token, if you don't get better, like I'm not as worried as at the pin anymore. Shout out to you for that take, by the way, as I am what they've done in the field. Agree or disagree?
You're worried about their defense?
Yeah, man. I mean, they're dead last in the last 2 weeks. They're dead last in fielding percentage. Not only are they dead last in the SEC, they're dead last in the country. Matt, they were fielding 9.59 to end the ULL game over that 2-week span. Yeah, I'm a little nervous because the reason that I'm nervous is it's regression to an extent. Now, I'm with Cade Beloso, and I like that mentality. Like, look, we beat Kentucky, but it doesn't matter that we beat Kentucky. We played like crap. I'm not – worried's not a good word. I said this on Monday. I said this on Tuesday on the show. I'm not worried. I'm aware, right?
Yeah.
Like, I am seriously aware of the last 2 weeks in the field. Besides Jordan Thompson, you've been really suspect.
A lot of people quiet about Jordan Thompson too. That's a tough scene for you guys too, huh? Yeah.
I know. So I know what you're doing tonight. You're collecting receipts.
Look. Me and Kim Mulkey. I want to post that soundbite. I'm a lot of things, but wrong isn't one of them. Okay. I mean, I sat right here and I told Blake. I sat right here on your show. I said, look. The man has gotten better. He's got his knee cleaned up. He's healthy. I've gone out in the fall and I've seen him. And these same dudes that claim that they were out in the fall too, oh, he sucks. I'd trade him for anybody. All right, cool. Well, he's on the Brooks whatever award today as one of the top 100 shortstops in the country. Tough scene in those comments. Tough scene.
Anyway, I'm I'm with you. Let me ask you this. Though, to get back on what they're doing in the field, are you aware? Like, what are your thoughts on? I mean, Matt, they lost 2 balls in the lights the other night. I mean,
yeah, but okay, yes, and I know the Trey Morgan deal in left was like bad. I know Joe Bear. You know,
Matt, you could have swept. You could have swept.
I know.
Like, let me give an example. Okay, you didn't have a game against South Carolina. Yes, the game 3 was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
When you see Arkansas doing what they're doing, mathematically, that game could come back and bite you in the arse. Now, it could help you too because of how the percentages will work. It also can bite you in the arse. When you're already winning and you give up meaningless runs in the SEC, it can bite you. Look, I've watched LSU baseball, college baseball, and you've played it, Matt. You played it at a high level. When you give up pointless runs as a pitcher, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna argue with you on that. Like that, I mean, that's obvious. I just think like, you know, the Trey Morgan thing was just bad. The errors against UL on Tuesday were bad, and Joe Bear against Kentucky, like I can make a case where it's like, oh well, you know, he's not consistently out there enough. You know, he's not playing a lot. Now he's gonna have to play more because Paxton Kling is hurt. We don't know
even if he wasn't playing and Paxton Kling was fine, you're gonna have to put him out there anyway.
Blake,
He's team 315.
This is gonna sound really stupid on the surface, and I know it's gonna sound stupid, and I'm aware of that. They're not throwing the shit around the ballpark like they were last year. I can take, hey, it gets caught in the lights. Hey, I took a bad route, like whatever. I can take that once a week, versus routine ground ball, and I'm dotting up toddlers 3rd row in the stands. I'm
Matt,
serious.
the last time that you were involved with this program and you talked about toddlers, it didn't go well for you, okay?
I know, but I'm just saying. I would. Yeah, I would, because I don't know. Like, I think that's more mental than it is, oh, man, I got it caught in the lights, or, whatever. And it's not. And look, Trey Morgan has played a bang-up left field.
I
This year.
agree.
He really has. I have no qualms whatsoever. And Joe Bear, his fielding is kind of like his hitting. We need to get better in between the home runs and the strikeouts. Those at bats in between them are what really is his bread and butter. Okay. And it's the fielding same way too. But again, Jordan Thompson has been fantastic. I know Tommy White has had some issues over the past week or like 2 weeks or whatever, but he's still fine. Second base, no matter who they throw out there, is fine. First base, whether it be Jared Jones, Kay Beloso, or Trey Morgan, great. Catching has been great. Like, I got no qualms whatsoever. I know you're concerned, but again, toddlers aren't leaving the box with bloody foreheads and teeth knocked out if they have them anyway, like all that stuff. I think we're fine. If I could give you, I'm not ready to slam the panic button, but I will give it to you just for the sake of your show, because you do like to put ideas in people's heads on your show and on Twitter and make them believe things. I will hover over the panic button. I'm not going to press it, but I will hover over it.
Okay. I like that. So you said a lot to talk about hovering. Last thing, or two last things. Number one, Jay Johnson legitimately has revolutionized Alex Milazzo's career. If you want to know the impact, in my opinion, Matt, on how big Jay Johnson has been for somebody, it is literally the embodiment of Milazzo.
Yep.
Surprised at how well he's done the last couple of weeks. Has some balls kind of got past him a little bit? Yeah, but I think he's still been really solid behind the dish.
I'm not surprised at anything with Alex Milazzo.
Okay.
I'm not surprised at this, because if you remember, he was honestly taking these types of at-bats and these types of swings last year before he got hurt with his knees.
Right.
And he was taking those good at-bats. And dude, he has worked his absolute you-know-what off. And look, he's never going to hit 350. That's it. That's fine. And I've talked to Alex about this. He knows it, and he's fine with it. Mm-hmm. He is going to get through professional baseball as a catcher, as a legit catcher. He is a top-tier blocker. He's a top-tier receiver. He's a top-tier game manager, and he is a top-tier thrower. And if you want to argue with me, you can go to Jay Johnson, who literally listed off all of those things a week or so ago, talking about Alex Milazzo.
No, man, you've had a scout confirm those things to you. So
I have multiple. But this is the thing. I'm not impressed by all that, because I knew that was Alex Milazzo. I am more impressed with the dude taking a backseat to a freshman and being called on every once in a while to bunt, #neverbunt, and doing a great job at it. Like, he has been the senior and the veteran on that team that you need. He hasn't bitched. He hasn't complained. He hasn't pouted. They have literally called him into pinch hit situations, and he's bunted, and he's laid down a perfect bunt almost every time. What else do you want in a veteran leader?
So last week, you came at me and said that and you talked about how I put thoughts in people's heads.
You do.
Can I now respond to who you are, since I've had really great time and a vacation to think about it?
Yours.
You are the guy, like off Succession, who is witty and who is going to come with a quick shot in between a really good take and ruin it for taking a small subtle shot. Because, Matt, let me just tell you, I could clip 100 things from this interview tonight, but that I can't, because if it gets in the wrong viewing eyes, you're taking shots at everybody. You legitimately have taken more shots than any bartender in America combined.
That's not true. That's not true. I just saw you tweet.
Guys,
Never what?
All right, so in pre-production, I asked the guys to put a tally next to every time you took a subtle shot at somebody. Guys, can you give us that number in the comments, please? Oh.
That's not true. None? That's not true. That's not true.
Okay, all right. I know. All right, so we have 2 producers. What does the other producer have?
11. This is I need a recount here. This is
well, look here, Trump. You don't get one. Okay.
Well, look, I think the Dominion voting booths put together these numbers. Okay, like this is ridiculous. This is absurd.
You just called out my producers. Anyway, last thing. I know that this question is going to keep you here a long time, and it's not my intention. Did you see the Pat 40 press release this week?
This week, I saw what he wrote today about the infractions hearing.
Oh, did I say last week? I meant yesterday, or yesterday or today, but the infractions on LSU and Will Wade.
I didn't see. I saw that he posted something, but it was during like a aimless scroll, so I didn't really click or read. Would I miss something?
Subtly, he tried to break some news, but did not confirm the news in the way that he wrote it.
Uh-huh.
Basically saying that this Will Wade thing in LSU's over with. Like that LSU had their hearing in February and Kansas just had theirs. And basically he believes that the last thing that the IRP is going to do, our IARP, is let everybody walk at this point. And I got to tell you something, Matt. I'm with every LSU fan on the face of the earth when it comes to that being absolute horseshit.
Horseshit in terms of you don't like the
I
ruling?
mean, like just the like we've been through all of this.
Oh yeah. You're just talking about how long it's been drawn out.
Matt, we're coming up on.
Yeah.
I mean, look, so what month are we in? February, April. So May, June, July, August, September, October, November. I mean, 7 months away from this being a thing. Like a 6-year thing. Like, Matt, this is going on for 6 years. To give context to this, Javonte Smart is in his 2nd season. Nas Reed is in his 5th season, Matt.
Yeah.
5th season.
Yeah.
And that dude's almost is playing half a decade before this has been done with. You have a guy playing a half a decade in the league before this is done.
Yeah, I would love to sit here and give you some existential reasoning and, an epiphany that I've had over the past however long, but are you surprised?
Honestly, yes.
But like you and I,
let me tell you why I'm surprised. I'm surprised that somebody could be over an institution like college athletics and it be run this bad. Yes. I know that I already know that they're bad, but when I think about it deeper, yes, I am.
Doesn't shock me at all.
It doesn't shock me, but like just okay.
I'm just saying, like, again, as fundamentally and as elementary as I can put it, if there was something concrete, like we'd have known by now, something like as much.
Look, well, Matt, even if at some point LSU's got in Kansas has the NCAA by the cojones. Let me tell you why. I talked to somebody today about this because when that report came out, And this is somebody that's worked in high-level administration in the SEC school. And he told me that the word around the league in reference to the Will Wade stuff and Kansas basically all boiled down to the FBI and all that, but basically just boiled down to they wanted Will and they wanted the stuff that was going on in basketball to stop to save basketball, and got some of these guys just not leaving and going into the NBA. I don't know, man. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Never bunt.
That's 12. All right, Matt Trent, WBRZ Sports. Buddy, you brought the heat. You know what my mom told me on vacation? Can I tell you really quickly? She said she wanted us to do a podcast together. And I said, well, Mom, we had one. And
you know what? You know what I was thinking about the other day?
She actually kind of begged us to do a podcast together. The whole trip.
You know, in so many words. There's going to be a day where my time at WBRZ is over. I mean, just the way it happens, the way of the business. And I think that when that happens, you and I need a full hour, maybe 2 hours, so we can really pull back the curtain and tell people exactly what goes on, what's going on, not just between you and me, but this is the thing. I don't think that your viewers, your followers, the people that look to you for a lot of information, maybe even the people that don't like you, I don't know. I don't think they understand what I'm talking about you individually, go through as a podcaster member of this. I'm being dead serious. I'm not trying to be funny at all. Like, I'm serious. I don't think people really understand what you got to deal with every single day.
They do not.
I'm being dead serious.
They don't see the DMs. They don't see the subtle shots. They don't, and look, Matt, we have buddies at every media market in the P5. At least somebody that we know, or that we know that knows somebody, everyone. I have 4 texts today that literally said about something that happened. Buddy, I just can't imagine how you put up with this shit.
Well, it's not, look, I mean, it's not like I don't care about I don't care about all the ancillary stuff, and what I've always been the person that's like, I don't care if you like it. I'm going to say it, I'm going to do it. And I mean, that's just sports media in general now. You're paid for your opinions. Okay. Right. And if you don't like it, cool. If you do, sweet. I don't care. They pay me the same way every 2 weeks, whether my opinions are right or wrong. They rarely are wrong. But also, I'm just like, I've been in public with you and witnessed it in public. Have I not? Have I not? Have I not been with you on multiple occasions where people, either members of the media or people that know you or that work at X establishment, whatever, have come by at a restaurant at a table that you and I have been sitting at and spoken to me and not spoken to you? Has that not happened?
That's 1,000% not happened. That's
1,000%. And have you been the bigger man and said, "Hey, so and so, how you doing?" And they give you a half-assed response? Has that not happened?
And not only that, but call me by name after they go on what they go on and say they don't know.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is that one day you and I will get together on this show or whatever. We will get a full hour and we will go through it, because it gets old. It gets old. And it's kind of like some of the stuff that you were talking about earlier, kind of like with Billy Lucci, who I actually really like, is a friend of mine.
I don't mind him as a dude. I don't mind him as a guy. Okay.
But it goes back to what I'm saying is, like, everybody's got a bit, right? Like, everybody's got a bit. Everybody's got their media persona, their job persona, whatever. That's cool. I do stuff sometimes that I'm like, That's weird. But that's how it goes, right? But then there's just like genuine, just being rude for no reason.
Yeah. And I think that they'll, because people like gossip so much, they would tune in. My mom says, yes. I also said I like y'all a whole lot better than Marty
Okay.
and McGee.
All right, let's pump the brakes there. Let's pump the brakes. I appreciate it, but that's not even in the same ballpark. But no, but seriously, because
First off, my mother is as Cajun country as they come. Okay, just gonna let you know that. And that country, that way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, came out when she said Marty and McGee to me.
well,
I mean, I'm talking about deep sticks. She loves them some Marty. She loves her some Marty and McGee, man.
You've kind of also got me on a little bit of another tangent here. But it frustrates.
Don't go off on my mama now.
I'm not gonna.
I'll go off on my mama now.
I'm not gonna.
My mama adores you. She is literally your biggest fan. You better compliment your biggest fan, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Rafino. But no, like I think I swear I wish that like this was my last day at WBRZ, and then I could just, because I don't really have a lot of like scorched earth stuff to talk about, but there's some things that have happened to you that I've witnessed. I mean, I witness all of it because you either send it to me or I send it to you, and
the worst is, I'll just say it. I'm not going to say names, but the worst is when I go to a LSU practice and a coach stops me after practice and we're chatting for 10 minutes. The eyes and snickering and not knowing, anyway, all right. I played for his best friend in college. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just
and this buddy is a DC at a school.
I guess my thing is like, people think that the more present you are and the more seen you are and the louder you are, that always constitutes you being right, you being plugged in, you being locked in.
Matt, I mean, I built this from not going to games and breaking down all 22. I mean,
that's my point. That's my point is that.
Hey, let me ask you a question. I had a buddy of mine in the business tell me this today, and he's been at ESPN for, I think, 21 years, like Matt, like Bristol, 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting there and we're talking, and he said, Blake, I have literally ran a show for 21 years on ESPN. And not once have I gone to a game? Yes. Do I go down and break it down and know just as much as everybody else about the team? Also, yes. And I just kind of thought about that. I was like, I guess you're right. Like, you don't go, and you have the biggest shit.
Because look, man, and this is all I'm gonna say, and I say this to everyone because I've told you I even go to your alma mater. Southeastern,
yeah,
a place where I love dearly.
They don't get that either. They don't get that dynamic.
And
it's now that the people of Southeastern are welcoming your boy back.
And I can't tell you, Blake Rafino sucks. And I ask him, I go, okay, let's be real here. Why?
I know.
Well, he said this. I said, okay, let's not look at how he said it. Let's look at what he said. Well, yeah, I guess that's all right. Yeah, I guess that's all right. Yeah. And I don't get it. But that's my thing is like, it gets old.
It does.
It's annoying. And there are a lot of people out there that are upset because, hey, you were just at home one day and it's like, man, I love LSU. I've grown up in Louisiana. I play football. I like football. I I like LSU. I like going to games, Death Valley, whatever. Man, maybe I can just try and see what happens, whatever. And what? You had an internet connection and a cell phone.
I had an internet connection and a cell phone.
And
And those tray tables? Like the tray tables that you eat off of? That was literally where it started from, to the studio that's being built.
Because, like, you wanted to do something, and you did it, and you worked hard at it, and now, look, you've got 20-some thousand followers on Twitter. You've got an audience. You've got a legit voice on this beat. You've got ads, people that are paying for advertisement on your show. You've got LSU athletes with NIL deals.
They don't see that part because it's
what's the problem?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're helping the cause. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get it.
I don't know. You never heard the expression everybody wants to be like Mike? Well, it hasn't changed because nobody wants to be like Blake. All right. We gotta let you. Hey, any SEC games baseball wise? All right. I'll just do the segment with you because I was going to end it. Arkansas, Georgia, that's on right now. Gators, South Carolina, that's on right now. But Tennessee State, Auburn, Bama, Mizzou, Tigers, Ole Miss, A&M, Kentucky. Man, I went 5-2 on all of my weekend bets this weekend. I got Arkansas, Gators, Vandy State, Mizzou, LSU, Kentucky. Did I leave anybody off wrong?
I don't think so. It sounds pretty good. I was just looking now.
Georgia's playing solid. What's that score?
6-4 Georgia now in the 8th.
See, they did that last week. If you remember, they did that last week to Florida, and legitimately, let me say this because let me ask you this. I lied. How much time you got? You got 2 more minutes?
Yeah, I got like 10, 15 more minutes.
Okay. Last thing though, for real. Ole Miss, I know, is 3-12 in the conference. Matt, they were also, I think that they were 8-8. No, I forget what they were. They were 500 this time last year. I was
getting ready to say, I said this with Hunt Palmer today on our show. I was like, I feel like I haven't looked at it, but just going strictly off of feel, it seems like this is about where they were last year at the same time.
Not exactly. They still had a lot more pieces in the bullpen. Calvin Harris is hitting 356. Kip Alderman's hitting 356 with 15 home runs, 51 RBIs. Jacob Gonzalez is going to go in the top 5. He's hitting 338. He's behind Dylan Cruz right now in walks. Ethan Groff, 329. Tony Calarco, 307. TJ McCants, 258, but he's hit 7 bombs. And Will Furnace is coming around. They're not pushovers at the plate.
Can't pitch it, though.
They cannot. They have a sub ERA of 5, which is horrendous. But I will say, it is the Ole Miss story of old. Halfway through the SEC, it's skip. It's literally skip ball. They've done this religiously. I'm not. LSU's going to win the series, but if you don't sweep, don't freak out.
I think every weekend starter has an ERA above 5. I think.
Yes, 5.35 or above.
Yeah, like the majority of the bullpen has like 4 or higher. But what's that old saying? It was like, don't let the ribs get hot. I mean, if they start stacking them here, I mean, they were literally the last team in the damn tournament.
And won a natty.
And they won the damn national championship.
And I will just say this with them. They are the dog that's backed into the corner, the pit bull that is backed into the corner, and this is it. So it's not as if that they are they're bad maybe in SEC terms, but Matt, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their 9 guys hitting above 300.
I'm gonna tell you what, too, like in that environment, I think LSU is gonna love that. Dude. Talking to Paul, and it was funny because last week, Thursday, the opener against Kentucky, Paul Skeens goes out there and just shoves, whatever. And I kept noticing, look, he's very, feeds off adrenaline when he's on the mound. He's always, doing stuff with his hands, all stuff. But I noticed that it was a lot more than usual. And after his last strikeout, before they took him out in the 6th, I believe, the ump had to bring him over and be like, hey, man,
you can't
get a little chirpy, just relax or whatever. And I thought that was really weird. I'm very surprised. I was like everybody else. like, why is Kentucky doing that? Why is LSU having problems with chirpiness with Kentucky and not Tennessee? They didn't have hardly any problems with Tennessee when it came to being mouthy. Like
No,
I'm sure they were mouthy, but it wasn't
the
like
second
Kentucky.
baseman when he hit that meme, the flex, and like he did
Yeah,
like
but Paul gave a great quote yesterday. He was like, "Yeah, this kid like walked up to the plate staring at me, and then I struck him out on 3 pitches, and then he was still staring at me walking back to the dugout, and I was like, buddy, what are you doing?" Paul wasn't. That's the hilarious part. He wasn't pissed. He wasn't upset. He was genuinely confused. Like, buddy, what are you doing? Like, I don't know what's happening.
I get why the umpire said something in both instances. Let's call it what it is. He's got to say something because, Matt, they're there for a weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
If you let it loose on a Friday, by Sunday things.
Oh, it's going to be a full out melee. Yeah. No, I get
correct.
it.
Correct.
I'm telling you too.
Even with and I thought the umpire behind the plate can't see it, and I get that. So, but he can hear it. Okay. He heard what Bear Jones had to say to the pitcher for Kentucky. Let's not get that, whatever. I thought that they showed a lot of restraint in letting the dudes play. Where their zones tight, yeah, like all that. I give them a round of applause, man. Like they did not overreact, in my opinion.
Yeah, what I'm saying too is like it seems like this team is so mentally strong that they love environments like this. They love the beer tossing. They love the right field, left field stands chirping at them. They love the fans. Like Paul Skeens literally just looked at the Kentucky dugout and was like, "What are you guys going to do?"
Right.
And I'm throwing 100 with a big league slider. You guys are like Helen Keller at a piñata party. What are you going to do?
All right.
Tell me, what are you going to do?
Have a good 10 o'clock show, my friend.
I will. #neverbunt.
All right. That's 14. We got to do a podcast together, man. Dude's too good. Too good. Just to roll off the picks again really quickly before we get out of here. I got Arkansas, Gators, Vandy State, Mizzou, LSU, and Kentucky. We'll see you guys again tomorrow night in the post game. Y'all have a good one. Peace.